NVIDIA stock investors and a lot of tech investors were pretty happy this morning, especially, after NVIDIA was up to $105. Unfortunately, the stock ended down at $96.30, and after hours, the stock is down another 3%. So in today's episode, what I want to do is take a closer look at some of the recent tariffs news that are impacting NVIDIA and the semiconductor space. And after that, I actually want to take a closer look at some recent acquisitions that NVIDIA is making. And I think every NVIDIA shareholder should take a closer look at this episode. Too long don't watch though. I am very bullish in NVIDIA. I believe this company will be a much bigger company than it is right now. And I believe the AI investment is still here and is still going to be very, very strong. So let's take a closer look in today's episode.
I want to thank The Motley Fool for sponsoring this video, and check out fool.com/Jose for the 10 best stocks to buy now. With that link, you get a promotional offer for the subscription service. Now, let's continue with today's episode.
All right, so first today we had a massive green day at the beginning and it kind of faded out. The stock is down roughly 3%. Main reason is tomorrow is the day when tariffs are going to take effect after midnight on Wednesday. The second thing is obviously a lot more pressure in China as Trump kind of signs a 104% tariffs on China taking effect as well. So overall, just a lot of uncertainty about the overall market. All right, so speaking here about tariffs, there have been a few analysts that have been following how this may impact NVIDIA in the short term of things. And let me say, the crazy thing about tariffs is every company has a vastly different supply chain market that for each company, it's very different. And if you want to see the true impact of it, well, an analyst needs to do kind of this information for each individual company. It's not like one of those things that works generally with every player. Every player has a unique space, and that's what makes tariffs so uncertain, right? Where one company can end up doing really good, and the other companies can actually end up doing bad. But it's all about who reports first and who's going to set the tone for the overall market. Now, the analyst they're talking about here is Stacy from Bernstein Private Wealth Management. And he mentions that around 60% of NVIDIA's DGX and HGX AI data center servers may completely avoid recent US tariffs, thanks to their production in Mexico. And they found that a majority of NVIDIA's data centers going to the United States hyperscalers might just arrive tariffs free. And the main reason is NVIDIA does have their own export regulation website. You can kind of go to this website right here where you can kind of look at NVIDIA parts classification and look at what their description and kind of what they fall under. And within this, you can see that the NVIDIA's DGX and XGX servers are sorted under the US Harmonized Tariff Schedule, codes HTS, within categories that are exempt from US-Mexico tariffs. Now, obviously this could change, but this is kind of a great indication that not every company has the same type of supply chain, and having different partners can help a lot in this manufacturing phase. Now, this doesn't, there's still uncertainties, right? What if in the future some of these laws and clarifications end up changing if more tariffs are placed in places like Mexico? Obviously that can impact NVIDIA longer. But the other thing that was kind of mentioned here is this data of 60% of servers coming from Mexico is based on all server imports entering the United States, not just NVIDIA. So this is just kind of a rough estimate. I'm going to guess most servers entering right now are AI servers, and most AI servers are NVIDIA solutions. So I think that it's a healthy estimate to say about 60% could be NVIDIA. But regardless, it shows that it's not just a complete negative game here for NVIDIA. Now, I've talked about this in the past, but Jensen during the Q&A financial analyst at GTC mentions that they are preparing and have been preparing to manufacture onshore. And they kind of talk about TSMC's Arizona plant, and they're already in it, and they're already kind of producing some silicon from Arizona, but the rest of the system will manufacture as much onshore as needed. And the ability to manufacture onshore is not a concern for Jensen and their partners, which NVIDIA is some of the largest customer for those companies. They are excellent partners, and they think that everybody has realized the ability to have manufacturing manufacturing onshore and a very agile supply chain is super, super crucial. So Jensen believes tariffs will have a little impact for them in the short term of things. In the long term, they are going to have manufacturing onshore. So pretty much, again, this is about a month old, way before all these tariffs news. But overall, we can see that NVIDIA has already been working previously with getting a lot of this manufacturing at agility. And I think that's very, very crucial. So that kind of gives me a more peace of mind in the short-term pain. Again, in the long-term thesis, I still believe that demand for NVIDIA is super, super strong. Now, the next thing I want to take a closer look at is there are reports that NVIDIA has successfully acquired a server renting startup, Lepton AI. So this is why it's so funny where the market and all these outlets don't really understand you can tell they don't understand the AI space. So Lepton AI, while they do rent out some servers, that's not exactly what they do. Now, Lepton AI actually has a pretty cool blog where they kind of explain the common challenges for AI workloads. And the big thing, and kind of on a top level overview, is renting out massive AI infrastructure is just one step, right? And most of these AI infrastructure players just really do that, just rent out a bunch of GPUs. But you need to do, if you're working in an AI project, there's so much you need to do. You need to kind of, to get started, right? You can't just rent a GPU and say, and just put train model or inference model. There's so many things that need to happen in the back end to kind of get your project to start production or doing that. And that's exactly what Lepton AI does. It's kind of that middleman. So when you hear reports that NVIDIA is kind of buying these AI renting servers to have the competition against Amazon and all these other players and kind of enter the cloud space, I think that's complete lies, and they're not trying to fight them there. What NVIDIA is trying to do is improve the ways that to make it easier to rent out a server, right? When you rent out a server, it's not so hard to get your AI stuff to start working. So like that, there's less of a restriction, less of a hurdles, and it opens up the market for more people to come and use it, right? So big difference from what the media is kind of portraying here. And I think this is very smart, right? The best thing that NVIDIA has done with everything is try to reduce the friction, make AI easier, make AI cheaper. And this just continues with that sentiment. Now, Lepton AI is a company that I've heard about in the past, and I couldn't picture it when, but Semi-Analysis, this is just going to be the free stuff that they announced. They actually talked about it when they did their GPU rating, cloud rating, and Lepton AI actually fell in gold place, really similar to kind of your Oracle or your Azure, which I thought was pretty impressive. And pretty much here, Lepton does not own any GPUs, but instead provides the machine learning platform software layer for managing GPUs and health checks. They will claim to be your supercomputing team. And based on this report from Semi-Analysis, the engineers here are really good at what they do. So again, NVIDIA just wants to improve the efficiencies of renting out AI infrastructure. I mean, another perfect example is NVIDIA a few months ago completed their acquisition of Run AI, and Run AI is another company that handles with kind of like infrastructure orchestration and make sure your GPUs are being used as efficient as possible. So through all the acquisitions that NVIDIA has made is to make it easier for the users. It's not to enter a new market, it's not to compete. And in my opinion, that reduction of friction is super crucial. Another acquisition that NVIDIA is reportedly doing is it acquired a synthetic data startup, Gretel, a few weeks ago, and for a few $100 million. Now, this is a company that develops synthetic data, and then that synthetic data can be used to improve your AI model without compromising on privacy. So Jensen Huang, during their quarter four earnings in February, they actually talked about synthetic data. So synthetic data can be actually used as AI models are basically generating tokens to train AI models and the post-training. So when you have kind of this great AI model, you can kind of create more data with it to make it even smarter and smarter over time. And again, NVIDIA is most likely going to put all this together on a complete packages within their NVIDIA AI solutions, so that when a company wants to do something with AI, they have the easy GPU orchestration with companies like Run AI. They have the ability to kind of create synthesized data to make that AI model better and train it even more and more with companies like Gretel. And they're going to make it easier for their machine learning data scientists and analytics scientists able to use that AI infrastructure with places like Lepton AI. So overall, this is the same goal. And Nvidia, there's all these bearish and discussions that Nvidia is just trying to hide that there's a down demand for AI GPUs. I don't think that's the story, but I think that's what gets clicks. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. I know it sucks. Let me do a quick therapy session. I know it sucks. I think Nvidia stock is going to continue to be very volatile, but overall, I am still very bullish on the stock. I believe this is a company that's going to dominate the AI market, which everyone is still investing pretty heavy on. So take care, have a good day, and see you all next time.